Yeah, it's incredible. And look, I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but IBM's done a good job of putting a good portfolio together, and I think when you look, I'm excited about the opportunity in front of us from a clear standpoint to marry and to marry what IBM's done with really with Turbo, with Cloudability, with KubeCost, and with Instana even, with what we're doing with Visual One. Um, right? Because I think if we just look at that overall space of FinOps, automation, those kind of things, there's a lot of opportunity there, and there's focus on different levels. Um, how do you see the FinOps space evolving over time?
So, it's interesting, and I'll kind of blend a little bit about what you just said with that question. I think that FinOps over time. Look, we're to borrow from FinOps, the crawl, walk, run type of stages that they talk about. We are in the crawl phase of FinOps, right? And I mean that sincerely, Phil, because of the organizations that I speak to, when you think about FinOps, FinOps is a framework, right? It's accountability. It's getting the organization to work differently than it's used to, right? The way that they actually buy their software now is different, right? It's, no longer a CapEx, it's now OpEx. And I think a lot of organizations, they'll talk about, oh yeah, we're doing FinOps. And then you peel it back a little bit and you ask the question, hey, can we talk to that FinOps practitioner? Well, it's really the engineering guys and they're, doing some cloud optimization. Well, how are you blending that financial data that you're getting from your hyperscalers, and how are you're actually making business decisions? And I'm starting to see the tide turn to where, a lot of folks talked about and said FinOps, 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 and they were really doing cloud cost optimization, right? Very reactive, very tactical. And now people are taking a step back. I got a great story. I got a call 2 weeks ago from one of our better clients over here, and he's like, I just need to take 2 minutes and vent. And I started laughing. I'm like, all right, Jerry, just, whatever, go ahead, pick the old guy in New Jersey and vent. And he's like, we're, we're just renegotiating our AW or Azure contract. He says, I was engaged with the finance team. His team does all the cloud optimization, cloud cost optimization. He said, I get it to the 10-yard line. We know what we want or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then finance goes away for 2 weeks. They come back and they say, hey, we got a new deal with Azure. I say, great. And discounts are better and blah, blah, blah. A month down the road, and this is when he called me, he's like, we just got our first cloud bill. All of the work that we had done in terms of rates and the way that our instances and everything that we had set up with our various business units, all out the window, because the two teams, that cloud cost optimization and that finance team, had not finished that conversation, that collaboration. So the interesting aspect here is they had saved close to $6 million already on their public cloud spend. Guess what? Half of that went away in 1 month. 1 month, because
Yeah.
the teams weren't actually aligned together. And so, Phil, when you ask about where do I really see FinOps going, there's a lot of technical stuff that's going to happen, and everyone's going to get caught up in all of that. But I think at the end of the day, and this is where an organization like Clear working with IBM becomes so, so, so important to us, right? The ability for you to be able to, you're local, you work with your clients day in and day out. They trust you. Going to FinOps, it's a cultural shift within an organization. And you need to have a clear standing with the customer to help them along that path, right? To help them make hard business decisions when, you've got two sides coming after each other. You're the mediator, right? And that's really what is very important to us here at IBM, and one of the reasons why we look to folks like Clear Technologies, with your Visual One, with all of the different tools that you bring to bear. We start to package all of this together because that's what our goal is, right? Our remit is to make it seamless for our clients. We talk about today that we're going to meet you where you are in your cloud journey, and we mean that, right? And the best way to do that is to have a completely fully integrated approach as we go to market.